I think this is a very good intro for our podcast. So, for you guys that might not know, I have been working with Bullstrap, I think 1.5 years, more or
Yeah,
less.
yeah,
So it feels like forever.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's really interesting. So the D2C helps him on the retail side.
Exactly.
You know what's funny is for Bullstrap, we found that you have to do in terms of like packaging and in terms of messaging, um, it's different enough that
Hmm.
it becomes a little bit complicated. Like
All right.
what you would typically do for D2C,
Hmm.
like we can just get away with showing how beautiful the product is on the PDPs,
Yeah.
but then we just send it in like a really curated like black box.
Hmm.
And there's like a really nice unboxing experience, but you can't do that if you're selling, at T-Mobile or something.
Journey. I mean, for example, I didn't know that it was your first entrepreneurial, I would say, start because it seemed like you have been doing this forever, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels like forever, but yeah, really the first one. I had kind of dabbled in some other things, like tried to build an app with some friends,
Okay.
but that none of that was real. This was my first like, okay, I'm doing it. We just bought a business, spent a lot of our money to buy it, and then
Gotcha.
this was like the first thing.
And were bootstrap cases always leather cases whenever
Yeah,
you took
yeah.
it over?
In fact, when we bought it, leather cases, we had just introduced leather cases into the lineup.
Oh,
Like
okay.
just, I bought it and then I bought into it the first time, which was like the fall of 2018, was working with him. We introduced leather cases,
Mm-hmm.
and then that ended up being like our best selling product.
Gotcha.
The reason for the name Bullstrap,
I was about to say,
yeah, was we were only selling at the beginning, he was only selling leather Apple Watch straps. That was the
mm-hmm.
primary product. And so he created the logo. It was a bull strap.
Makes sense.
There you go. That's the name.
Ah, there
Yeah.
you go.
But it does stick. Like it's a unique enough name.
Yes.
And in terms of SEO and everything else, like it's really easy to find. And usually when people are looking for like bull phone case,
Mm-hmm.
like we just come up really easily for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the cool thing with the name that you really do not have any competitive words
No,
next to it. So, as
not
you said,
really.
for SEO or any organic traffic to acquire, it is definitely a good thing to have.
Yeah, and I walked into that. I mean, that was unintentional. That the name was already there, the logo was there. So yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is cool. So, in terms of leather cases, like, is leather a material like dear to you? Is it something that you're passionate about, or?
Um, Not entirely.
Okay.
I've come to really appreciate it and actually like really love it. But at the start, this was just an opportunity to
Mhm.
me, and I was like, okay, let me try my hand at this particular thing.
Gotcha.
But I've become passionate about e-commerce, become passionate about. I'm actually a CPA by background.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So I spent a couple years working at Ernst& and Young as an auditor. Um, spent some time in finance. And then while I was kind of at some of these financial service firms, I like this opportunity came up and then I took it and off to the races. But that said, I'm not naturally like an e-com marketing guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more like a finance,
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
like look at the numbers behind spreadsheets type of
Gotcha.
person. Um, and So yeah, leather wasn't really something that I was necessarily passionate about.
Gotcha.
I've come to appreciate it. I've come to love what we've built with the team. Come to like the process of building something I really enjoy. And so this has become I've come to like really love what we're doing. But in terms of just like would I be the guy to seek out that leather handbag or like, leather
Mm-hmm.
briefcase or a really nice leather backpack or a leather iPhone case?
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Gotcha. I mean, what I really, really liked whenever I entered the office is that how kind of like of a friendly environment, kind of like a comfy environment almost.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I'm very jealous of you guys because you work like with your friends. It seems like sitting together, working with friends.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah. And that's all an extension of like the way our core values and the way that I want to operate, like when we walk into the office, is it's totally that. It's like um, I want to have fun, you know?
Makes sense.
Like if we're not actually enjoying ourselves when we're working, then something has gone horribly wrong.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
this is very interesting, like as a contrast to what I talked with another founder yesterday. He took a different approach and said, I am very passionate about the product and I'm not very passionate about the entire business side of it. So
Hmm.
this was a different approach, right? Like where
Huh.
the passion for the product went so far that he went through the entire thing of retail and e-commerce and all of that stuff and like got to like the business part of it. But for you, it's the other way around
Yeah.
where you really like the business part of it. You saw the opportunity because kind of like looking at it from an entrepreneurial standpoint,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the product then kind of like fell into it. As like for this guy, it was the other way around. Like he really passionate about the product. I want to bring it here. Let's see how it goes. So
Yeah. I mean, probably the most difficult thing to do as an entrepreneur is manage people
yes.
and manage processes. Like those are the couple of things that get really difficult. And just for context, like we came from when I bought the business, it was doing like $100,000 a year.
Hmm.
So it was really, really small.
Yeah.
It was really small. And then by the time, I mean, now, we're like, we're not huge. Last year we did like 6 to 7 million top line revenue. Um, so we're not huge, but it's enough to have like a sizable team,
Of course.
an operation in the warehouse. Like, so it's at that phase, you start having to like deal with interpersonal dynamics
Of
and different
course.
things and manage a team, manage culture, and processes become really important at that phase too. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I imagine to be able to provide a space where everyone can work at their best is also not easy, right? Because you need a sizable space. As I was
Yeah.
talking with Lauren and Ariana in the morning, is like I said, well, you guys have a very awesome space, and they were like, yeah, but before it wasn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before it was different.
And honestly, those days were really sweet too.
Hmm.
Like, there wasn't anything wrong with just working in a warehouse because we basically had a warehouse like we have now
Hmm.
that you saw, but we were all of our desks were just lined up on one side and we were all just like
Hmm.
staring at a wall on our computers and then all the inventory was just behind us, which, like there's something special about that. You kind of feel like you're in the trenches with your
Yes,
people and you're doing things together. And this is obviously really nice what we have now, but like those days were also sweet.
definitely. I mean, I think this is also where you learn the most,
Yeah.
I think. So cool. 'Cause every
Um,
product, I think, has its ups and downs whenever it comes to DTC or even retail. So you guys only do DTC mostly, right? Or do you
yeah.
have like a wholesale channel?
We've done some wholesale, a little bit of retail, but not really. Like for
Okay.
the most part, it's been like one-off things. It's like someone's interested in carrying our product,
Gotcha.
and so they'll buy some from us, but
Hmm.
not anything meaningful.
All right. And in terms of challenges, what do you think is the one of the biggest challenges in terms of whenever you are selling leather products or, and in your case, your main product, the phone case? What do you think is kind of like the most difficult part about it and the most easiest part about it?
Yeah, there's a few answers to this question. I'll zoom out and answer like
Hmm.
on a business level.
Gotcha.
The hardest thing that we're dealing with right now is scale.
Hmm.
We've kind of hit this place that we're at
Yep.
and have kind of plateaued.
All right.
And it's been quite difficult to figure out how to traverse the territory into like actually becoming an 8-figure brand and growing beyond that. And we've gotten a lot of, there's basically a lot of really good people that are speaking into what we're doing now. And I'm just trying to find the people that have gone before us and have scaled other companies and have them speak into what we're doing. And so that's kind of the point that we're at now. It's like we've
Hmm.
built a business, we have
Yes.
something, but now we need to figure out how to actually
Hmm.
scale and grow. And so from a business level, that's that answer. Scale is the thing that we're dealing with right now. It's like how do we actually traverse territory into the next phase? On a product level, to your question, the what's easy about it is that it's a really beautiful product that
Hmm.
sells itself.
Gotcha.
So you can display, it's really easy to display how beautiful this thing is.
Hmm.
And you can just take a really good quality image, throw it into Facebook as an ad, and have it
Excellent.
generate sales. So,
Okay.
like, that's the thing. There's not really a whole lot of storytelling or a whole lot
Hmm.
of like really intricate messaging that you have to develop to sell the product.
Makes sense.
it was kind of easy to do that from the beginning. Facebook ads just worked really easily from the beginning because it sells itself. What's difficult about it on the other side is that you have to develop some of that story and the branding and uh, yeah, the overall like brand quality matters. And so getting people to come back to the brand and buy and stick around,
Mm-hmm.
that takes things like our lifetime warranty and our like all the things that make our brand really exceptional, like good customer service, all those things. Um, that just takes time and effort to build.
Hmm.
And so that's probably for longevity's sake, like that's the harder part of the sale. It's easy in one sense to just like sell
Hmm.
something that looks really good, but then you have to compound that over time.
Absolutely, that makes sense. I mean, for me, whenever I arrived here in Florida, and I've been to Florida before, but it was many, many years ago, like 6 years ago.
Okay.
So, like being here also, I think I realize how much the location helps you guys.
Mm.
Because
Yeah, that's true.
as you're saying, like it's naturally easy to sell the product. I think it is true on one part, but on the other hand, for example, for you guys, it's very easy to go out into a beautiful place, right, and just put the phone case there. You
Yeah.
have perfect lighting, and yeah, the product together with the location, I think, just creates also part of the lifestyle, which again makes it quite
Appealing.
appealing. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. It is really easy to like because even when it rains here, it's not
Hmm.
raining all day.
Exactly.
Like, well, right now is actually like during the summer is like our rainy season,
Hmm.
and so you can walk outside,
Yeah.
like even right now,
Yeah. It's
and like get beautiful. Yeah, you can get beautiful imagery. So yeah, that part is beneficial. That is beneficial, and it has really helped us with our imagery and marketing and stuff for sure.
because it is interesting for me the way like on the angle you talk about like how you fell basically into the business.
Hmm.
For me, whenever I first had contact with you guys, I thought like this was rigorously planned out from the beginning up, right? So this is always also coming into entrepreneurship in general, where people that look from the outside always would think everything's perfect
Yeah.
and everything is simple and everything's easy.
No.
And it's really not. It is just a constant grind of doing one thing consistently and
Yeah.
keep optimizing it. I guess the same way we're doing with the website, right? I mean, it's continuously figuring out what works, what doesn't, what is it that a customer resonates to,
Yeah.
and what is it that we should not do, maybe. So while again, everybody thinks that it's the same for me, right? Like whenever I saw you guys first, okay, you guys always had this big place and always like we're doing this and that. So yeah, it's very interesting to see and hear how a journey like this like takes its place,
Yeah.
right?
And bankruptcy is a part of that story,
Wow.
which is crazy. Yeah. I mean, I when I first started Bullstrap, I was I had a lot of naivety, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would tell everybody, it's like, yeah, start your own thing, like go for it, do your own thing. And now I'm a bit more cautious to say that you really have to be in it for the long game because it can cost you something. Like I have a personal bankruptcy,
Yeah.
and that's it's not that big of a deal because I'm married and my wife's credit is clean, and so it's like okay, fine,
Hmm.
like we can use her credit for everything. So like it wasn't that crazy, but still like it was a lot to try and grow a business. We were taking out loans, we were trying to hire, we were trying to grow and grow and grow, and then you know we had one year that was a little bit down, and that kind of just like ruined us. Like that was
Wow.
enough to make it really impossible to service the debt, to run a profitable business. We were too heavy, so we just got like really focused. At that point, I brought a few people in that I really trusted
Okay.
and showed them everything. It's like, here's what's going on, here's where our financials are at, here's our financial picture. um, what
Wow.
what do we do? And so the playbook was, okay, we got to restructure the debt and then we got to create a profitable business, and you have
Gotcha.
something here, let's do it. But for a lot of people, that could have been the end.
Yes.
And that's why people always say it has nothing to do with how smart you are or how you know how good of an opportunity you have or any
Hmm.
of those other factors that you would think matter. It's really just persistence. Stick it out for long enough. You got to get beyond 5 years basically, and
Yeah.
once you get past that point, then you basically have something. And
Wow.
that's not totally true all the time. Like there
Yeah.
are different, there's different types of businesses and different things. But for this, that was definitely true. Like I had to cut my teeth hard to actually get to the point um, where we had a profitable business. It turned really fun when we got to that point and was able to like really focus on the things that are cool about what we have now, like
Yeah.
developing the team, the culture, and all that. But yeah, sometimes you have to go like the journey is not clean or smooth, and it's not what people see on the
Hmm.
outside looking in.
Absolutely.
There is so much that you have to go through. So I caution people a lot. It's like you really got to be in it to win it. And ultimately, I do think that it's good for people to go through it.
Hmm.
Like it is the best, but like in terms of what it'll teach you, there's so many things that I have learned from being an entrepreneur. And sorry
Yeah.
if I'm just like
No, 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 no.
blabbing on and on.
Please,
Okay.
please, because I'm just listening and taking all of this in because it is the kind of like a very similar, I would say, story on my end as well.
Mm,
I mean, my business, of course, is structured completely different. I mean, I don't need to have such a huge investment in it, right?
right. Yeah.
Like my type of business, yeah,
Service businesses are like that. Yeah.
they're like always kind of like very lean in terms of
Yeah.
spending, but they're also a lot harder to sell.
That is true. That is true. I mean, technically you're the product of your business.
Exactly, that is
Yeah.
correct. And
Yeah.
one thing, for example, that's also the reasoning for me doing this now is that I was always a person who did not like to go out, like
Mm,
into social places.
yeah.
Even from child up, I have never been the guy who wanted to be with many people.
Mm,
I usually had one best friend, and I stuck to this person, and we did all of the stuff together.
yeah. Right.
And but over time, and especially now, I realized like I cannot always sit behind the computer and just stay there because if I do that, well, this is where I'm gonna stay.
Mm,
If you do not like go out there and kind of like explore different parts of the world in terms of business, not just like looking at the code, looking at the computer, and kind of like this is something AI is teaching me at the moment
yeah.
that
Yeah.
where in the so I started this out also like 6 years ago, more or less,
Mm,
not being a developer. So I had like on with when I was 18, I well up until the age of 18, I had to do a lot with computers in terms of programming, building websites. So I had my first website being built with 14, I think.
hmm.
But then I stopped it. So I did not pursue it. So I wasn't like an algorithmic person that were like going in there and like constructing complex functions,
Huh.
if you know what I mean. But over time, kind of like because I really liked working in the computer, kind of like it grew on me over time. Like I really liked the challenge. I
Yeah.
really liked that I couldn't figure it out. And I would sit there for days to figure out why. And this is kind of like how I liked the coding world. But with AI now, it is like, well, it's kind of like a calculator, if I would look at it this way, where before you would need to write down the entire process to get to the solution. Now you just with a button click you get it. Kind of similar, not the same with code now, where like it brings you so close to reality or to the finished product just with a button click that you kind of rethink its structure of. I was right from the very beginning that like programming or developing is only one part of conversion rate optimization, of A/B testing. It is actually more the marketing part of it.
Yeah.
So, and this is like what I come to realize and also came to realize whenever I hired developers is like, yeah, conversion rate optimization or e-commerce in general is not the technical part of the website, and especially now, it's so much more than that. It is looking into how people behave, where they click, to what they pay attention. So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Entrepreneurship is a crazy ride.
It's a crazy ride. I had no idea that you didn't have a background in
No,
development before
completely.
starting. That's crazy.
No, before not. It's again, it's like it came over time.
Hmm.
So I guess I would say, business angle is more of a language communication part of it together with business. So, like my studies, for example, my bachelor's is in foreign trade, in foreign commerce.
Ah, no
So
kidding.
I have a lot to do with, for example, duties, importing, all of that. I've never executed it for work. That's just something where my mother said, you have to study, you need to go to university,
Yeah, yeah,
you need
right.
to do that. And something I've never said, not in social media or in general, is that I also do have an entrepreneurial story back that failed miserably. So when I was, I think it was 20. Yes, when I was 20, I had my best friend. As I mentioned, I only had always one best
Yeah.
friend, and we did everything together. And we always said we want to go out of Germany. We don't want to stay here. We want to like see the world, do something. And we decided to kind of like create our company together with his dad, and it had something to do like with financial advisory. It was more a product of his dad than it was mine. I just got taken into the entrepreneurial story, and my job was to build them a website, a platform where they then can host webinars and stuff like that.
Okay.
Long story short, my friend was with me, and then he left back to Europe to go visit his family, and he just started to ghost me all of a sudden.
Whoa.
So I was in Mexico with my now wife, without any money. So I was like, I think, 2,000 euros in debt on my card, and with no job, being in Mexico, not like a simple country to make a living, I guess,
Right.
if you're coming from Germany. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do now? And the next logical thing was to say, you know what, I need to find some kind of job because I don't want to go back to Germany. My parents did not help me. They did not financially support me because they were never in agreement with me leaving like that, because they knew I didn't have a foundation to build upon. So they were like, you know what, he's going to come back anyway because he has nothing now. But unfortunately, I guess for them, and fortunately for me, I have this, now I understand that entrepreneurial kind of like harshness of where I need to make this work. Like, I can make this work.
Right.
Like, for the love to my partner, I was like, I don't want to go back to Germany because I cannot take her with me.
Right.
So what am I going to do? And I started to look online on Facebook Marketplace for jobs and found a language teaching job. And this is how I became an English teacher. And of course, the requirements were, yeah, I need to have a bunch of experience. And I was very upfront with her. I was like, I don't have that experience, but I know English very well.
Yeah.
And I was
right.
like, all right, you're hired. So that's how I became a teacher and how I lost my fear to speak to other people. And yeah,
kidding.
over
Wow.
time that grew on me. And because, again, entrepreneurship, I was like, I'm not making enough money. How can I make that better? Then one guy was like, you can teach online. And then I was looking at that but the competition was huge. Like, I mean, there's so many English teachers out there. So I was like, well, but I know German. Then I looked up German and it paid like triple the amount. I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. And that's how I got into working profitably online. Again, selling a service, but not me actually doing the selling, but providing the service.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you, man. That's so cool. So then how did you go from doing that to like web dev and conversion
Exactly.
optimization?
So that was another funny story. While I was doing that, my cousin in Germany, he had already a very, I would say, successful agency in terms of ads.
Okay.
And he introduced me to my very first client that I worked with for 5 years. A jewelry store, also from Florida, but from, I think, St. Petersburg is the name.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have worked together for 5 years. So that was my first client. And yeah, because I told him, well, you know what, I don't want to do language teaching forever because it was very repetitive and it was very draining. Like, you had to sit 8 to 10 hours constantly talking and do it all over again the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So, and while I was doing that, I was already studying at university. So my day was getting up at 4, from 5 to 9 doing language teaching, go to university, come back and continue doing teaching. And I did that for 2 years up until I was like, I'm dying.
Yeah, that'll kill you.
I'm
basically a death
I'm gonna
sentence.
kill myself. So I need to do something else, something different. And I did know that also language teaching was not something that mentally stressed me enough. So I wanted to do something else. And I remembered, okay, well, I'm very good at coding. Like, I mean, I did that before, and I think I can do something with it. Then I came into the world of developing, and I looked at other developers. I was like, okay, they know a lot more than I do. So
right.
how can I, again, provide extra value? Well, I know business from my university studies as well, and just from my first entrepreneurial endeavor. So kind of like one and one did two, and I found CRO.
Mm.
And ever since I'm in love with it. Like up until this day, like doing it for 6 years, you would say, are you getting tired of it? No, I think now I'm actually falling more in love with it day by day.
Yeah.
So
And it's cool because there's like unique challenges. Like it
exactly.
doesn't really ever get old. There's always new stuff, especially even with us.
Yeah.
Like there's been a couple occasions where you've been like,
Yes.
this is new. We're
Yes.
gonna have to figure this out. I don't know, like
Exactly.
I don't know this necessarily. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. That's
And
really cool, man.
and this is also something I really appreciate, like between us, that you said, you know what, I know that, for example, with that Shopify app, that you don't like you did not do that exactly like this before, but I trust you enough as a person that you're gonna be able to do it anyway.
Right.
So this is something that has been like a very awesome experience, I do have
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, I've really appreciated our relationship. It's been cool. Like we know that we can trust you on everything, and so handing you projects and different things has been like it's just been an easy thing to do because you've been so good at all the different like just executing for us. So,
Awesome.
yeah, it's cool, man. It's really cool. Yeah, but the entrepreneurial journey is like it's nuts. It's really nuts and it's quite difficult. It does refine and sharpen you, though.
Yeah.
I think um a lot of people want life, they have a vision for life that's like really easy. And it's like, man, if I can just do this or that, like things will be easy and good and whatever. But you don't get there without some sort of struggle.
Yeah.
Like anything in life worth doing is difficult.
Yes.
Even kids. I mean, we were talking about that before. We just had our
Hmm.
fourth, and you have your daughter, but like it's it really is crazy. People think that you will hear people say about kids, man, it's the hardest thing ever. It's so difficult, like the amount of time that it
Hmm.
takes and everything else. But I love
But it's so worth it.
it's
Yeah.
so worth it. I love her so much. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Like they're the light of my life. It's like there's purpose
Yes.
because of a child. And it's both things are true at once. It's like difficult things are meaningful things.
Yes.
And it's because it's so difficult and because, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted and it's so tough and whatever, that it also is like really purposeful and meaningful. So
Absolutely.
the entrepreneurial journey is similar but different. Obviously, it's similar in that like it's difficult,
Yes.
but it ends up being worth it for all the things that it teaches and trains you in and develops in you. And so, yeah, it's I wouldn't trade it for anything. Even with all the ups and downs, it's like, no, this has been good. Like God has totally utilized this thing in my life to actually grow me as a person for the sake of
Absolutely.
my family, for the sake of my kids, for the sake of the people here.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Um, in terms of, for example, the journey for Bullstrap, where do you see Bullstrap in the future?
That's a good question. Our goal is, like I said at the beginning, to scale it. Like we want to get to the 10-figure number and above. And so that's what we're attempting to do. And um, we have like specific number goals, but uh, it's been difficult. Like it really has.
Mhm.
We've had those specific number goals for a long time, and it's been really difficult to actually grow and achieve those goals. So at this point, my operating like my modus operandi is okay, I need to find people who have figured out scale. It would be best if they were in this particular industry, but I'll take it from anywhere
Gotcha.
and try to utilize their wisdom and knowledge on how to actually grow this thing. And what do we actually need to do? Because we have the team to do it.
Hmm.
Like we can execute on a game plan. We just need the right game plan. And
Yeah.
good books, like I've gotten a lot from obviously all of Alex Hormozy's
Mhm.
stuff. Uh, there's a really good book called Ready, Fire, Aim, um, by Michael Masterson. Am I saying that right? Yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
Ready, Fire, Aim, fantastic book. It talks about the stages of business. Like, and right now we would be in stage two. So, like, the first stage is getting your first million, like 0 to 1
Gotcha.
million. The second stage is from 1 to 10, roughly, and the challenges that you specifically face in that phase. And then from 10 to like, 30 to 50, and then 50 to 100 million and beyond. And
Mhm.
the things that you deal with at each phase are really unique and very different. And so that was also really insightful on like, okay, what are the things that we need to work on in this phase? And that guy in particular has like, dozens of businesses. He's scaled a bunch. He understands the growth path. And so that was really helpful. So there's been a lot of things that we've tried to implement, but I think we like at this point there's a few guys that we're speaking to that like are industry specific that have
Hmm.
really figured out how to scale in like tech accessories and yeah, like e-commerce and tech accessories. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I think many people watching this would say, are you making advertisement for someone else?
That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So Grace Coffee.
Hmm.
Yeah. That is the passion project
Gotcha.
for me specifically. My mom's name is Grace,
Hmm.
and uh, God has basically shown our family a lot of grace. Um, I actually almost wasn't born.
Wow.
My my mom has HIV, and she contracted it before meeting my dad. They both met on South Beach, and they were both personal trainers. And so, um, at the time that they met, it was in the 90s when the like AIDS epidemic was really bad, and my mom was given 10 years to live. So she was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna have a family. I'm not gonna be able to marry anybody." And so she at that point like started becoming really content with her relationship with God. My dad comes into the picture, he starts falling in love with her, and my mom has to tell her, or my mom has to tell him, hey, listen, I have this virus. Like, we can't, like, this can't be a thing.
Hmm.
And it was at that moment that my dad was like, well, I think I love you. And if I love you, it doesn't matter what you have. And his mom, my grandma, had died of cancer when he was 16. And so he was like, if I love somebody, I love them. It doesn't matter if they have cancer
Okay.
or HIV or whatever. And so shortly thereafter, I was conceived. And um, my dad wanted to, they were contemplating like having an abortion with me. And my dad had already had an abortion. Um, he had convinced his previous wife to basically, end that pregnancy. And so God comes to my dad and tells him, hey, if you kill this child, I'm going to kill you. And I know that's maybe sounds dramatic and
No,
crazy
of
and
course.
whatever, but like this is just like the reality of the story. And my dad felt the weight of that and decided, okay, I'm going to marry this woman. And for once in my life, I'm going to do the right thing. And so, yeah, I basically like almost, there's really no other way to say it. Like I almost wasn't here and God literally saved my life, you know? Um, and he saved my mom's life too, because I'm one of four kids. I'm the first of four, and none of my siblings have the virus. Me and none of my siblings have the virus. And my dad, to this day, does not have the virus, which is absolutely crazy. That doesn't even make sense. But God has just shown our family so much grace. And it's ironic that that's my mom's name, literally. And so, Grace Coffee, all that it is a mechanism to take the grace that we have been given as a family and spread it to the rest of the world. And we're doing that through our partnership with Compassion International. They basically help kids that live in extreme poverty throughout the world, and they do a fantastic job. We actually took a trip with them earlier this year. It was just so cool to see. They partner with like local
Hmm.
churches that um, that provide food, basic healthcare, education, the gospel. I mean, one of the biggest things is education that they provide to these kids that are living
Hmm.
in extreme poverty in these neighborhoods and in these, impoverished areas of the world. And it's just crazy to see the impact that they have. We got to meet a few people that had actually graduated their program, like actually went through as kids. They
Hmm.
were, you know, living in like horrible circumstances, but then through the local church, that compassion is helping fund and provide resources to
Hmm.
and whatever. Um, they're now adults that are helping in the same mission and doing all sorts of crazy things. I mean, there's so many stories of like, uh, we went to the DR and there was this one lady, we didn't get to meet her, but she literally grew up in the slums in this particular area. And she became the first female doctor that did a particular type of brain surgery.
Wow.
The first female doctor. And
Wow.
she grew up in the slums of the DR. It made absolutely no sense. And so the work that they're doing around the world is just exceptional. And so coffee is our mechanism to basically say, hey, we can take this thing that Americans, do every day,
Gotcha.
like this ritual, basically, and turn it almost into like a sacrament of sorts, um, where your coffee can become something more meaningful. It's like there's actually purpose behind it, and you do something with it. And so, like the vast majority of our proceeds end up going towards this particular thing.
Gotcha.
So it's really
Amazing.
cool, man. There's a lot of purpose and meaning behind it from a personal standpoint. And also, we've been working with Compassion as a family since I was like 6 years old. I
Gotcha.
remember when we brought home our first Compassion
Wow.
child and we could see, oh, this is the child that we're helping support with like, 40 bucks a month,
Gotcha.
just helping provide food, clothing, education, and all that stuff. So it's really cool, man. There's a lot of purpose and meaning behind it and really excited to do this particular thing.
That is so awesome. I mean, whenever you first told me about Grace Coffee, I reminded myself of whenever I first came to Mexico,
Mm.
because this is what I did like for volunteer as a volunteer work.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
was in a children's school, and that school, it wasn't really a school. It was a place for children that were not able to go to school because even though, I mean, like the governments and everything say school is free, it is, but the clothing, they need to have a certain uniform that they need to
yeah,
purchase, books they need to purchase. So you still need family members that are responsible for you. And most or basically all of these children come from very difficult places where either their parents are alcoholics, for example, or just live in very bad places. And I have seen, for example, two sisters together. One was 9 and the other was, I think, 3. And the 9-year-old was taken care of already of
yeah,
her sister like a mother.
yeah. That's super common.
And she was telling me that whenever they come home, they would see their mother being with a lot of guys, drinking beer and all of that stuff. So just not like an actual environment for children, you
Yeah,
know. And that place, what it provided was just shelter, food, and basic education. And this is where I learned a lot of core values in my life.
mm,
One of them were they told me never to assume anything, to always ask and always speak. Like if you think someone thinks of you something, you should go and ask. Never stick with that thought because
mm,
it can create kind of like just a bad environment unnecessarily. So it's always good to speak your mind, to, if you're uncomfortable, to ask.
yeah,
So there was a very insightful story. And coming back to Grace Coffee, this is why I was like, from the first moment, I really want to do this with you because it just reminded me of that and how much of an impact you can have if you actually go out there and help.
yeah, yeah,
So,
100%. And it's so clear, man, getting to see just from the people who have graduated those programs and what they go on to do and accomplish
yep,
and how they end up serving back in their community and
exactly.
reinvesting because they've come from it,
Yep,
So it ends up meaning something to them. And we
absolutely.
have a really big responsibility living in the Western world where we have, historically speaking, like from the history of the world
Yep,
context, we have so much.
yes.
Like we are really rich. And even though it may not, like a lot of people listening might be like, well, maybe I'm not, but like we are.
Yeah,
Like we really are. We have so much. And doing something that's like, you know, 30, 40 bucks a month to help a child
yeah.
like this is like, um, it really doesn't take much.
No, it is really a no-brainer because again, I mean, whenever we are like out here, right? Like,
Yeah.
who are you? I mean, of course, there are always people that are in certain necessities. I'm gonna say that, but I think helping in places where people actually like need a lot of help, that they would never be able to get out of their zone without help, you know.
Yeah.
I think this is where it's so powerful that and you're purchasing still a product, right?
Yeah. Which is
It's
the thing that's so cool. It's like you can actually connect it to something
yes,
that's like a physical product, I'm actually getting something
Exactly.
and getting to give at the same time. So it's really cool. And we're not the first people to utilize that model. There's a lot of famous examples of that. Tom's Shoes,
Hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yes.
They're obviously huge,
Yeah.
but there's so many people that have utilized this type of model. Even in coffee, there's people that have utilized this model. But, coffee also has like a near and dear place in my heart.
Hmm.
I'm Latin, so I started drinking coffee when I was like 12,
Hmm.
which is, whatever. It is what it is. Even when my kids go and stay with my parents, with their grandparents, like they're always making little espresso shots, like, sipping on it with a lot of milk. So anyway, it's just part of,
Hmm.
it's part of our culture and what we do. So I really appreciate and love coffee. And so it's cool to be able to pair something that I really love and what it means too. Like coffee to me represents connecting with people, you know, like a coffee shop.
Absolutely.
Like the idea behind that is like it's just built into the product, you know.
Absolutely.
And for me, it also represents the time in the morning that I get to spend with the Lord too. So it's like I'm always drinking coffee during that time, and so
Ah,
it's
okay.
meaningful in so many ways to me.
That is true. Yeah. Also for me, like being here, driving from place to place, like where I do most of my work now is in front of a coffee shop.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. So it's cool, man. We're
Awesome.
really excited to do this thing. It's super meaningful.
Awesome. And in terms of like now being able to compare in terms of coming back, I would say from a logistics or product standpoint, right? How is coffee different than, for example, a phone case?
Um, it's really different. For one, just from a marketing, like an e-commerce marketing standpoint, coffee's not the type of product that you could just, let's take a really beautiful picture of this and then it'll sell itself with
Exactly.
Facebook ads. The story has to be so much more compelling. And we're only a few weeks into having launched.
Yep.
And so we're still figuring this process out. But we've done a decent job so far of creating a compelling enough hook and story and getting people to appreciate what it is that we're doing
Hmm.
and then turning that into like converting and actually purchasing and supporting what we're doing. But it's much more difficult. It's a very different type of marketing.
Hmm.
You have to use long form. You have to use way more video because you have to kind of explain
Yep.
what it is that's going on.
Exactly.
So it's much more complicated. It's not just snap a really beautiful picture and then put it
That's
up
it.
and it'll
Yeah.
sell. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something similar to what we talked about in the other podcast. Like consumer products or consumable products are a lot different than, for
Yeah.
example, yeah, phone cases or, um, I mean, any type of other product. I think for the DTC space to sell a consumable, I think is one of the, well, not the trickiest ones, but I think it is not a simple product to start out with.
No, it's not. It's not. In fact, if I would have, like, we did actually attempt to do Grace Coffee years ago.
All right.
When I had started Bullstrap, I think I was a year into building Bullstrap. And this same concept had my heart.
Hmm.
And so I tried to start it then and couldn't for that reason. It was so difficult to market, I couldn't quite figure it out.
Hmm.
And so we kind of just like pressed pause on it and then spent a lot more time working through the ups and downs of Bullstrap, went through bankruptcy,
Hmm.
went through all the things. And now that we're at the point where it's like, okay, we kind of have our finger on the pulse. We have a good team. We can actually do this e-commerce D2C thing. And we're way more equipped. I'm way more equipped as an entrepreneur
Of
and
course.
everything else to actually do this. What we're finding is going to be a really good path is like working with influencers for this and working with churches. Like
Gotcha.
we're already wholesaling to a few churches, and that's going to be a really big, just easy foot in the door. You can sell to churches, but then they also say, hey, we're serving Grace Coffee. So it
Exactly.
becomes a referral source too, which
Yep.
is awesome. It's like they're paying you to have their coffee there on Sundays, and then you're advertising to the literally the perfect audience
Wow.
to create customers. So that is actually like one of our better strategies that we're using right now. But it's also new. We're still figuring
Yes,
it out. And Facebook ads are still a big part of
of
what
course.
we're doing. But the story is what has to capture people.
Definitely. I think in summary, I would say for me, the most interesting thing after now speaking with you in depth is how you're from a point where you yourself found yourself in a difficult situation now to being able to help people in a
Yeah.
difficult situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So,
true. That's exactly right. And that's kind of the story of yeah, that's the story of life, and honestly, it's the story of the gospel. Not to be
Hmm.
too preachy here,
No,
but
no,
like
no,
this is
please.
like just such a part of who I am and what I care about. But like think about the God of heaven humbling himself and becoming a man and deciding to actually walk among us. And there's the scene where he has disciples, and his disciples are arguing about who's the most important person among them. And Jesus is like, guys, shut up. He sits them all down, and Jesus, the King of heaven, starts washing their feet and then goes to the cross and dies on our behalf and has me in mind, has you in mind, has everybody listening in mind when he goes to the cross to actually save us from our own selfishness, our own wickedness, like all the things that we think and do and whatever. And he saves us from all of that. And basically undergoing something really difficult for the sake of being able to help other people. It's the most beautiful plot line
Yep.
ever. And we all get to, like, I'm getting to live it to a certain extent. You're getting to live it to a certain extent. And there's a reason it resonates with people, and it's because it's the most powerful story ever told.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, Claudio, thank you so much for all of the insights,
Absolutely,
and
man.
thank you so much for
Dude,
also accepting me here.
yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it.
Thank you.